The wrestling world is not only the world of fame, money, power, and glamour lights, but also the most important part of this big, spectacular extravaganza is the physicality that is involved inside the squared circle. Many aspirants come up to live their dreams inside the ropes, but over the years, it has been seen in the global juggernaut that is WWE that real life fights have also broken out in the backstage area, sometimes even in the ring, by superstars who were not scheduled to get physical with each other, resulting in real life instances that were reported by superstars in shoot interviews and people who were backstage at that time. But who were these superstars? Why did they get into these fist fights? What was the reason that instigated them to get into a real fight with fellow superstars? Well, today's 10 times video by WrestleFan is ready to uncover everything and reveal the 10 times WWE superstars got into real fights backstage. That will surely be a shocker to the fans who see them so poised, well known, and extremely extravagant inside the squared circle. So guys, get set, get ready, and look at the 10 times real life fights between WWE superstars broke out on Backstage. Number 10. Sheamus and Sin Cara. So Sin Cara was one of the most highly captivating Mexican stars that was brought into the WWE in the early 2010s, and he was embroiled into a feud with the Celtic warrior Sheamus, who himself was coming up at the time. However, a real life fight broke out between the two right after their match, and it was said to be for a very petty issue. I mean, come on Sheamus, you shouldn't have done that. Well, aside from the issue that we're just gonna reveal, Sheamus had a reputation of getting into fights with many other superstars, with Sin Cara just being one instance. The fight happened in the trainer's room when Sin Cara was getting himself checked for the injury, while Sheamus made a passing comment that he should have been attended to first, cementing himself as a much bigger star than Sin Cara, although that was not true because he had already made himself a big star in Mexico and was a hot agent when he came into the WWE. This petty comment led to a real fist fight broke out between Sin Cara and Sheamus, where the masked warrior got the best of the Celtic warrior and took him down with some great strikes and punches. Sheamus's image has surely improved now that he's a veteran in WWE, while Sin Cara is making waves still on the Mexican scene. Number 9. Chris Jericho and Goldberg. Goldberg was brought in as one of the hottest prospects from WCW back in 2003 when the company shut its doors, but immediately had a reputation of not being liked by certain superstars. Of course, the feeling was mutual on Goldberg, as he also was not fond of multiple WWE superstars, including the now AEW veteran Chris Jericho. For the unknown, Chris Jericho and Goldberg were also supposed to work a program in WCW before the Icon had pulled up on this and pushed the plans away from the WCW management. The beef continued in WWE on one episode of Monday Night Raw, where Chris Jericho was scheduled to team up with then World Heavyweight Champion Triple H to face off against Shawn Michaels and Booker T. Right after their match, when Chris Jericho came back, he heard that Goldberg had been bad-mouthing him and decided to confront the former WCW champion. This led to an all-out brawl breakout between both of these superstars, where Goldberg grabbed Jericho by his neck, but Y2J was not gonna back down and reversed him into a headlock, leading to the fight taking a bad turn. However, the fight was finally controlled by WWE officials backstage, and later on Goldberg and Jericho called it a truce, shaking hands, and led on to work for multiple programs on WWE Raw in the summer of 2003. While the issues were resolved then, who knows, it might be prevalent right now. What do you guys think? Do Goldberg and Jericho still hate each other? Will that lead to Chris Jericho not letting Goldberg come into AEW ever? Ho! That's an interesting question. Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Number 8. JBL and Joey Styles. Over the years, JBL did earn the reputation of being one of the most enthralling WWE superstars with his power pack arsenal, but another reputation that the WWE Hall of Famer gained was of being a big bully, and he was known to torment those who weren't able to defend themselves. On a 2008 tour, the next target that JBL had in mind was then WWE commentator Joey Styles, who was the target of JBL's big bulliness and torment. However, Styles had enough of JBL's pricks and decided to retaliate by punching the former WWE superstars right in the face, and after claiming that he had been tormented enough by JBL. A witness of that backstage incident, former WWE superstar Simon Dean, revealed about the same in a past interview. He said Styles had enough and there was pushing while guys tried to hold them apart. Bradshaw got free somehow and he started lunging towards Joey, and Joey got his arm out and knocked him on his ass. I dare say Bradshaw's wrestling career was never the same after that. While Joey Styles was the least expected to stand up to a bully like JBL, he did so and set an example that bullies don't last ever, even if it's a WWE superstars in the landscape. Number 7. Booker T and Batista. Batista was the reigning World Heavyweight Champion in 2005 but had to relinquish his championship due to a major triceps injury that led to the animal on the sidelines for at least a year, and as soon as he came back, he not only found himself embroiled in a storyline feud but a real life fight with the five-time WCW champion Booker T, who was the reigning World Heavyweight Champion at the time. During the filming of the 2006 SummerSlam commercial, it is reported to be said that Booker T thought that Batista was bad-mouthing the entire SmackDown locker room, leading to a real-life fight engaged between both the Animal and the King at the time. Booker T was set to get the upper hand on the fight, and immediately after, the two were embroiled into the feud that was planned for that year's SummerSlam for the World Heavyweight Championship. But according to some witness, that being WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle, he said that Booker T clearly misunderstood Batista's words as he was not trying to badmouth anybody on the SmackDown roster. However, Booker T himself came out in the open and spoke about the incident on what he said to Batista. The now NXT commentators, Booker T stated, "Hey man, let's just get this out in the open. I really don't like you, you really don't like me, but we gotta work together. It's our jobs. We gotta go out there and perform together. You know what I mean. But if you ever cross me, you're gonna have to deal with these," being his fists. Later on, he and I actually confronted each other like men. The fight went down, and I'm not gonna go into much detail, but I got fast hands. I'm quick with my hands. Of course, the feud would later on continue until Survivor Series, where Batista would finally regain his World Heavyweight Champion and put an end to his real-life tensions and the storyline tensions with Booker T. Number 6. Buff Bigelow and Shane Helms. Of course, we all know Shane Helms popularly as the Hurricane, who had captivated the audience with his superhero antics and now is a WWE backstage producer. But little is known that he got himself involved in a real-life fight with a former superstar known as Buff Bigelow. Buff Bigelow was reportedly said to have a big ego and was much disliked by the entire roster at the time, and even badmouthed Shane Helms, which led to Helms finally taking some action. After hearing the comments from Bigelow's mouth, Shane had enough and slammed a bottle right across his head and laid a barrage of punches on Bigelow before their fight was taken under control. Later on, Shane himself revealed the exact details of the incident and what happened. He said, Helms stated, "He said something and I burned him really bad and he got all offended by it. He came and hit me in the damn ear. He's like standing on the floor and he outweighs me by 50 pounds anyways. Everybody in there knows I'm banged up my shoulders, so then he comes and hits me from behind and I'm gonna just threw it at him and I jumped out of the ring. And this was kind of to distract him because now I'm gonna go punch him in the face, but he cracked his head open. He was bleeding all over the place and I didn't think it would. I don't know, I guess the water in it made it just more harder." Surely Shane Helms knew how to stand up for himself, and that's why we all loved him as the superhero known as the Hurricane. Were you guys fans of the Hurricane? I surely was, because I loved his comedic antics. Let me know in the comments if you liked the Hurricane. Number 5. Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle. Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle are known to be two of the greatest in-ring performers that WWE has seen in many years. The two had nothing but great matches whenever they stepped across each other from the ring and looked for nothing but perfection in their in-ring bouts. However, one of their bouts that was a lumberjack match on the 2004 edition of SmackDown turned out to be the worst encounter that they have ever been involved in together. Right after the match ended, Angle confronted Guerrero backstage, claiming that he had to carry Mr. Latino Heat for the entire match, that enraging Guerrero even further. This led to a fight break out between Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero that led to Guerrero landing punches while Angle countering him with a facelock. The fight was finally broken by the 7-foot-tall monster Big Show, and Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero managed to patch up things right after that. Of course, they had many more matches together, whether it was singles and tag team, but this one was surely the worst one that led to a real-life fight between the two WWE Hall of Famers. Number 4. Chris Jericho and Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar has always been a dominant force of nature and is known to pulverize his opponent inside the squared circle or even the octagon, as seen during a stint in UFC. However, in 2016 SummerSlam, he decimated the Viper Randy Orton with his bare hands to the point that Orton was profoundly bleeding inside the ring. This led to a match stoppage and giving Lesnar the victory by the referee's decision. However, Lesnar's actions did trigger one superstar who was not appreciative of it at all and decided to confront the Beast Incarnate. That superstar was none other than AEW's Chris Jericho. As soon as Lesnar got back from his match, Jericho confronted him in the hall and was not pleased with his actions. This led to Jericho reportedly pushing Lesnar back, while Lesnar took it as a joke, seeing Jericho not as a threat and kissing him on the forehead. I mean, can you believe it? Jericho feeling that he wanted to threaten the Beast while he was not threatened at all. However, the fight was finally broken up by then WWE Chairman Vince McMahon and things were finally under control. But the reports suggest that Jericho managed to stand up to the Beast Incarnate. Number 3. Vince McMahon and Kofi Kingston. During a 2010 plane ride where Kofi, Vince McMahon were joined by Chris Jericho and then WWE Champion John Cena, a brawl broke out between the upcoming star and the chairman himself. When the plane landed, Vince McMahon reportedly made a comment about Kofi Kingston's failure of not being able to get over with the WWE audience. This led to Y2J to instigate Kofi that he needed to confront the WWE chairman. Kofi did just that and walked up straight to Vince McMahon saying that if he had a problem with him, and Vince with his brash attitude responded that even if I did, what will you do, Kofi? This led to a brawl breakout between Kofi Kingston and Vince McMahon, with Vince McMahon reportedly taking him down with a double underhook and crawling on the feet before Vince McMahon got up and laughed once again in Kofi's head. This was reportedly one of the most strangest incidents for a real life fight to break out, and surely more between Kofi Kingston and the man who paid his checks, Vince McMahon. Number 2. The Big Show and the Great Khali. The Big Show and the Great Khali were known to be two of the most tallest and the most physically imposing men in WWE back in the Ruthless Aggression era. However, these two guys got themselves into a real fist fight backstage due to a very particular reason. On one of the house shows, Great Khali used Big Show's The Chop as one of his finishers in his arsenal, and led to the world's largest athlete being enraged that Khali was trying to steal his moveset. Shaw would later on confront Khali in the backstage locker room, which led to Khali being confused on what Big Show was exactly trying to refer. This led to Big Show throwing away Great Khali's bag and a fight ensuing between the two giants in a proper fist showdown, with Khali reportedly set to overpower the giant at the time with his back and forth punches. The fight was finally broken up by other wrestlers in the locker room, but will surely go down as one of the biggest real fist fights that ever happened in a backstage incident in WWE. Of course, over the years, Big Show and Khali had been able to develop a great relationship as the two giants of wrestling, but this fight would surely be remembered as a memorable incident where both got really real. Number 1. Shawn Michaels and Bret the Hitman Hart. It is no secret that Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart were heated rivals not only on screen but also off screen, as the two men reportedly did not like each other for many years. One of those instances saw a real-life fight break out between the two WWE Hall of Famers at the peak of their epic rivalry. During one of the promo exchanges, Shawn Michaels alleged that Bret Hart was having an affair behind his wife's back with WWE diva Sunny. This led to a real-life fight breakout between HBK and Hitman when Michaels attempted to punch Bret Hart only for to miss, while Hart grabbing him by his hair and then punching Michaels back. Shawn would go to attack Bret's injured leg but missed right again before the WWE officials intervened. However, the incident left Shawn Michaels really infuriated and he barged into Vince McMahon's office, threatening to quit WWE and go to the rival promotion WCW. Of course, as we all know that it didn't happen, as it was Bret Hart who instead went to WCW following the infamous Montreal Screwjob, but managed to make his way back into WWE, and in 2010 Michaels and Bret were able to bury the hatchet in real life and become friends for the years to come. So guys, that was it for this edition of WrestleFan. It's 10 times wrestlers got into real fist fights backstage. If you like this video, then like, comment, share, and do subscribe to our channel, and also let us know that which one was your favorite fist fight from the choices that we gave you. So with that said, fans' opinions do matter, right? And we love the fans. So fans, go ahead and give up your opinions. And we will see you all in the next 10 times video presented by your favorite wrestling channel, that is WrestleFan.